Bum, bum, bum. Freudian slips.
Hi, Ollie.
Hi, Danny.
Hey, everyone. This is Freudian Slips, and we're going to be finishing up our summer kind of reality TV dating show thing that we've been doing. I've been
A
having a lot of
3-part
fun.
series.
Yeah, it's a 3-part series. So if you guys like this, your feedback would be very, very helpful to see if we do this again next year. Because there's a bunch of shows that talk about relationships and dating that we can definitely kind of reflect on and see what we can pull from. Today, we are going to be finishing this little series with a show called Perfect Match. Before I kind of get into the synopsis and what the show is about, just your quick little just initial thoughts.
Mine?
Yeah.
What's funny is the last 2 shows that we've done, knowing that we were going to do this one, and this one's called Perfect Match. On the other 2 shows, we're like, oh, how funny. They're like looking for their perfect match. We're
Yeah.
going to do another show called Perfect Match. This all seems kind of the same. I must have completely forgot what this show was, or the first season was nothing like the other seasons, because I have not seen it since COVID.
Mhm.
So either my memory was faulty or this has just really gone astray. This one isn't even about finding a perfect match. The only one called Perfect Match has nothing to do with finding I hate this show. Hate it. Capital H. Hate it. Your initial thoughts?
I agree with you. Yeah. So this one, your mind is not deceiving you. Your memory has not gone astray. You are a completely intact human being. Yep. This show definitely falls. Let's end it at the beginning. This show definitely falls at the bottom of the 3 that we talked about this summer. This one's definitely the worst one.
I don't even think this is, I know the last one we're like, all right, more of like a game show than a
Yep.
dating show. This one's like none. This is like, this should not even be remotely in a dating show category.
Yeah. This feels more like a social experiment
Yeah.
than it does anything as far as a dating show goes, or even as far as a game show goes.
This is, forgive my French. I know we swear on here. I don't know if I can say this word. It kind of feels like a pussy version of Survivor, because the challenges aren't actually like hard. Everyone gets fed. There's nothing survival about it. But
Yeah.
there's like an outwit, outplay, outlast. And you like try to like remain on they might actually be on an island. I don't know where they are. But you try to stay in the villa or
Yeah.
whatever, wherever you're at. And it's horrible. And the fact that these people are all from other shows.
Yep.
Is obviously like you're not looking for anything.
Mm-hmm.
You're
Yeah.
from other shows to be on a different show. I feel like a boomer, because what are any of these shows?
Mm-hmm.
Or it's like this person, you know him, The Bachelor. I'm like, I didn't know this guy was The Bachelor. And he's heinous. I don't think anything about him is attractive, especially his personality. So I'm like, I'm so confused. I don't know who any of these people are.
I don't know. You did ask for last time. You did ask for bigger, burlier men. He was a little bit on the
He
bigger
doesn't.
side.
Okay, he was bigger. He does not count as burly.
Okay.
No.
All right.
Weirdly enough, maybe Ollie. And I'm not just saying that because we have the same name, but I do think maybe he was slightly more what I was looking for. But some of these other guys, my exact same qualm remains. I'm like, you might have done more work in Botox than I have. And that freaks me out. Or that's just their genetics, which also freaks me out. But
Sure.
like, no, like you're hairless, you're wearing, which maybe it's because of the show that it seems like some of them are wearing a little makeup, but it's like, no. Too pretty. None of them should talk. That makes the show 10 times. Sorry, what were your thoughts?
I'm there with you. So before we get to all that stuff, maybe we should just break down and tell everybody what we're actually talking about.
Yeah, tell them about the show, because I was far too confused to understand most parts of it.
Cool. So this one is Perfect Match. This is how it works. Contestants, or a bunch of people, pretty much is a bunch of attractive people. They all go into a villa and they are tasked with pursuing new romantic connections. This is one of those shows that is hosted by Nick Lachey.
Just Nick Lachey.
Just Nick Lachey.
Where's his wife? I don't know. Just him.
Is it just me, before, like, small little pause, because I'm pretty sure I've said this before, but I don't know if I'm just making this up. And so, is it just me? Or does Nick Lachey host a lot of these like romantic
They must
relationship.
have gotten some deal with Netflix. I think it started with one. I think they hosted one, and then I think it turned into way more, and I would assume that now they're just kind of the couple, or specifically Nick Lachey, is now
Okay.
kind of the face of a lot of these shows. But I know it didn't start this way, I don't think.
Okay. All right.
But
Cool.
I might be wrong. I obviously am not an avid watcher of them.
Sure. Fair. All right. Fair. Great. This is a show hosted by Nick Lachey. It's a bunch of people that come together in another villa. Everyone always meets at a hotel, at a spot, at a beautiful resort, just all to themselves, just a villa on a beach, and they have to pursue new romantic relationships. How does the show actually work? The point of the show is for you to get matched. How do you do that? Literally by just sparking a conversation with someone and saying, do you want to go to bed together? Do you want to share a hotel room together? There, you're matched. The day-to-day stuff is just like most any other show. These pairs are going to be put up are going to be given challenges to do. They're games. Some of them are your typical kind of like relationship dating games where they ask questions, they talk about their histories, blah, blah, blah. And some of them are a little bit more like task oriented. I think there was one where they were like trying to shimmy a box and get a bunch of balls like out of the box. And so they're physical challenges.
I saw one where they just made out with everyone, and you just ranked how good everyone was at kissing,
That was
and
one.
it just started arguments.
Beautiful, great. So you can see the varying quality of these challenges. Whatever. Somehow they determine a winner of these challenges, and the winning duo is then allowed to go on a private date where they can continue to, delude themselves that they are in fact a successful couple. But the biggest kind of interesting thing about a show like this is that the winning couple then goes into some kind of boardroom where they are allowed to invite two new singles into the whole villa. So here's a little bit of strategy. You can invite someone for yourself. Maybe you think that the person that you're currently with isn't your perfect match, or you can also invite someone for someone else. You can invite someone on someone's behalf and send them on a date because maybe you think that the relationship that they have isn't, the best one. Or option 3, you can invite someone into the villa to disrupt a relationship that you think is actually a little bit better than yours, and hilarity ensues. How do people get eliminated from the show is every
No
single
match.
night. Yeah, every single night they end up in, I guess, what can just be called like a cocktail hour. So after they've introduced the new people, after everyone has gone on their dates, they come back and they just spend the rest of the night just talking and getting to know each other. You can then, you go to someone and you say, hey, do you want to link up? Do you want to share my bed? Do you want to be a match? And then you go to your hotel room. Whoever is left just outside like a sorry sad sack with no match
Did
is
you say a
eliminated.
sorry sad sack?
I did. Yeah.
What is I've never heard that expression in my life.
Oh no?
No.
I've been saying that for years.
A sorry sad sack?
Yeah.
That's a good one. Those poor
Yeah.
people. No match. No one wants to sleep with them.
Yes.
And they're so vain that probably really did affect them.
Yeah.
Like how?
So if you don't get matched, you get kicked out. And this kind of just continues for a couple weeks. They do challenges. The winning couple goes on a date. Then they get to pick two people to come in to kind of stir the pot. And if you get matched at the end, great. You go into the next week. If not, then you go home. How does the whole winning thing at the end is, well, eventually, like most shows, there's a final internal vote. So a vote done within all the contestants, and they get to choose who is the ultimate perfect match. So pretty much their whole experience of the summer or the time that they've been there, and they've been the ones observing all of the couples. And so they say, well, I think, Harry and Janice are an amazing couple. They're the best ones out of us. And so they deserve to get the money. So that is how the show works.
What do they win? I definitely didn't watch it that far. I was uninterested.
Yeah, hold on. Hold on. What?
What? Are you looking up what they win?
Yeah. What do they win?
Because remember not Ultimatum. The one with the beams that we just did.
Are you the one?
Are you the one? That one, if you can figure it out decently early and you maybe can invest money in a semi-smart way, the little amount of money you might, well, not little, relatively speaking, just based on it's not a show where you win $1 million, but individually.
Right.
But the money you would walk away with after taxes, I really think you could make that grow into something sizable. if you were smart with it. But on this one, what do they get? And it's only 2 people who win. It's the pair.
Yeah, what they win is an all expense paid vacation to a destination of their
Fuck
choice.
that shit.
Wow.
Oh, Netflix, you're good. You're like, we're not paying these fuckers. They're gonna get Instagram followers, they're gonna get brand deals, they're hot, and they're wearing bikinis and just showing themselves.
Yeah.
They're their own marketing, we're not paying them. Nice. Good job.
Damn. Oh shit, good thing I looked that up.
They don't even fucking win anything.
But that makes sense. That I think that kind of says how little faith they have in these couples to begin with. I'm like, oh, just fucking send them to Disneyland. They're fine. They're
Also,
gonna break
like,
up next week.
imagine if, like, the people who win, it's truly just, like, I mean, I guess it's still a free trip, you know? Why
Yeah.
not go on a free trip with someone? But
Hmm.
I wonder if any of the people who have won, someone's just been like, "Hey, just, like, bring your friend on
Hmm.
this." Like, I don't care. We're not into each other, so who cares?
Yeah. So general thought number one. This is something that I think we've kind of peppered in throughout the last couple of podcasts, and that is just where they source these people from. In Too Hot to Handle, everyone was just super gorgeous, just a model, just weirdly attractive. We really appreciated last week's Are You the One? Because it was not only it was all representation from the queer
Yeah,
community, but they seemed kind of like normal. Okay,
yeah.
this is what people tend to look like. Here, they're
Oh,
sourcing contestants from all other like Netflix and MTV reality shows.
yeah, so they're not no, they're all gorgeous. They're very good-looking people,
And,
stereotypically.
to that point, it does remember when we were talking about Too Hot to Handle, it was like, wh how genuine is this show? Like, are people actually coming here to find relationships?
This
And if
one
they're
I
coming from other shows, like, that seems very difficult to do. This is the perfect example. This one sounds like, this seems the most disingenuous. Am I saying that these people don't deserve love? No, I'm not. What I'm
no.
saying is that this is just weird, that these are definitely people who seem to be making a living or just a life off of being on reality shows. This does not seem like a genuine attempt to find romantic connections.
These people should be studied. I think anyone that's down to be on this many reality shows, especially these ones, like shitty dating reality shows that, like, you're not leaving being like, wow, naked and afraid. Or, oh God, there's one that's like, I survived. I don't know. There's one where they're just living out in the Alaskan bush for like 100 days, literally just with cameras recording themselves. And it's like, at least if they leave, they're like, wow, I really proved something to myself. Like, these shows, if anything, people might like talk shit about you, or like just things can come out that you're like, oh God, would you want your parents to know that? Or like, would you want someone to see this? I don't know. People that are down to do this many times and just show up in bikinis for this long. And if it's helping you make a living, which I'm sure in a way
Sure.
it is helping them, but yeah, people that just genuinely love the, like, being on the shows and the, like, I don't know, showmanship and spotlight of it all. I'd love to see some studies.
In a show like this, because you have shows like The Mole, you have shows like Battle
What's it
Camp.
what?
It doesn't even fucking matter. Look it up.
Okay.
You have shows that are not relationally oriented, that
Yeah.
are just like game shows. Those, yeah, why not? Those are fun. There's a social strategic element to it. Like
Yes.
this is really like, oh, I want to just go on a bunch of shows where I get to meet a bunch of hot people and just date. That seems odd to me. I can
What?
understand the appeal, but that it just seems like odd to me.
Okay, wait, I just had a random thought. I guess maybe, though, if you are truly this good looking, let's say you're
Mhm.
from, like, Kansas, small town in Kansas, and you're like, "I won the genetic lottery."
Sure.
And I'm just in Kansas. And you're like, I'm not. If this is kind of a way for you to get into this world and meet these other people, that it's like, oh, thank God, you're also the 1%. Like, I don't get to just walk around and meet these people ever.
Mhm.
I guess it's a way to just like meet them. And then after the shows, it's like you kind of become in this network of
Yeah.
really hot people from
Yeah.
all
Sure.
over the world that now know each other because they're all hot. And then they can DM each other and maybe do weird brand deals or just fly each other out to have sex and stuff because they're hot. hot. And so I guess in a way, it's like this really hot community web that they then build their hot community in.
Sure, maybe, I guess. I didn't think about it like that. It's like, oh, I'm the 1% in Kansas. Like, all I have is just a bunch of uggos around me. I need to meet people who are on my level. Yeah, I guess maybe.
Maybe in a way, they're their own 1%, you know? Like
Yeah.
billionaires don't want to talk to us peasants either. I get it.
Yeah, sure. I think that this is kind of like the reverse of Too Hot to Handle. If Too Hot to Handle is on one end of the spectrum where they're saying no sex, let's build a relationship and then add the physical, this seems to be the complete opposite, where it's all about just physical. What do you want? And we'll see if a relationship blooms from there.
This one also feels, Danny, a little more to me like there's the more drama that happens, or I wonder if even like the people that they're going to introduce, I mean, you obviously have to have them on standby or like, but I wouldn't be
Mhm.
surprised if the pool is like so big because they need to kind of see the drama that ensues or what happens. And then based on that, they're like, oh, put this person in or be like, let this person go. It's like, I think they try like the freaking, I want to like it more because it did have challenges and games
Mhm.
that were connective in nature or kind of
Sure.
like sensual. I think in the right setting or context, that could actually be very helpful. But when you're in pairs and you're like, we're gonna have a challenge where everyone's blindfolded and makes out and then rates how everyone kisses, you don't do that for any purpose other than let's stir the pot. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, I didn't love the games and activities in this one, but
And
yeah, too hot to handle. At least those people, I don't know. Or even what was the one? I keep forgetting the beams.
are you the
Or
one?
the one. At least that one. Even though we were both like, this feels more like a game show. I don't think anyone's really there. At
Mhm.
least everyone played it off. And it's like, but I really think you're the one. And it's like good acting. Lovely.
Mhm.
But this is insane. This is
Yeah.
just people that are like, okay, I want to stay. You're partnered off. You're partnered off. Like, all right, I'll go get this person. Like, it's just a pawns and like
Mhm.
a chessboard.
I love the way that you're saying that because that's what it feels like. It seems to have the thinnest plot, like the thinnest premise. Where in Too Hot to Handle, we're saying, hey, try and make a relationship. Caveat: you can't touch them, right? You can't do what you always do. Okay, cool. There is some element of discovery, something new, something. What is it called? Like a directive that we're
Yeah.
trying. Okay, that's great. And you go to Are You the One? Again, it was virtually pointless because all of the pairs were pre-established, right? The ones were chosen before you get to the villa.
Yeah.
That's how they decided who was going to go there. And so this is what we talked about last time. You can screw around with anyone and it will make absolutely no difference. As long as you know how to play the game, you should be fine. Here, it was literally nothing. Just, you guys are all single, according to what you signed on the forms. Come here and pair up. And we're just going to keep doing that.
This show makes me like Too Hot to Handle so much more than I did originally. Because this one was like, I remember turning it on, Danny, and being like, okay, like it is kind of funny. We've been like, they all might as well be called Perfect Match. So I'm like, I do wonder, I don't actually remember this one that much. I wonder what's actually different.
Mhm.
I would never watch this show again. I hate this kind of television. Unless it's like, what's that big one that everyone's obsessed with that just had a newer season? Love Island?
Love Island.
Love Island. That's a totally different thing. Like, I think
Never
people
seen it.
know what they're, but maybe it was me going into this thinking it was even remotely like a dating show. But I'm
Mhm.
like, this is not a freaking dating show. And these people are so full of themselves
Mhm.
and think they are so incredibly good looking and amazing that it makes it a little hard for me to watch.
What I did think was interesting was that because I don't know if this is the first time it's ever happened or if they were just making a big deal about it, but I do know that in prior seasons it was very much bringing together people from other Netflix shows.
Yeah.
That I've kind of made peace with. But in this season, they brought in people from other things altogether.
Yeah, like I heard like people from like is MTV still a thing? Like not just Netflix, like
Yeah,
totally other shows.
they were bringing in people from The Bachelor.
Mhm.
That's a completely different show altogether. And what I thought was really cool was noticing just how they interact. Like, it is very different how
Yeah,
people on these Netflix shows seem to kind of go about doing their thing versus when you get people from like The Bachelor and how they go about making connections. There was
that
actually a noticeable difference.
that's a good point. And in a sense, it does kind of feel like, I don't know, I guess maybe a way that I might actually like the show or to me could give it a chance is you start getting real wild with it. Like bring in hot people from like the Food Network. I don't know. Do weird shit where it's like someone on Netflix might be like fangirling over like someone on like a very different
Mhm.
show or something. I don't know. Or just on like a just yeah, they're on TV or kind of a household name but for not reasons that are kind of trashy dating
Sure.
TV show things. But that is very true
Mhm.
because yeah, the Bachelor guy I did not love how he I don't love how he handled himself, but it did feel different than some of the people that have been on these other, like, Netflix shows that are just so used to these, like, sitting in these chairs and giving these, like, kind of, like, outlandish, like, little kinda one-off clips and stuff.
Mhm.
It is funny how different they seemed.
Yeah, and I would actually say maybe this is biased, but I think I liked the Bachelor people better. Sure, again, take this with a grain of salt because they're all single for a reason and they're all on a dating show. So come on, no one is a perfect example of what we should be striving for. But with the Bachelor guy, what he did do is he did end up kicking himself out. He said, "Hey, I know I
Oh.
messed up. I'm not going about it the right way. This is not fair. You deserve a chance to actually find someone. And so, you know what? My person's not here. I'm out." And that's really not what happens with other people. What they will say is, "Hey, no one is here for me, so I'm gonna go and mess another couple up. I'm gonna just try and get anyone because I'm looking for next week because this is my show, this is my life, and I'm not gonna let true love pass me by." So I do think that the Bachelor people, they're different. I don't want to say that they're better, but I think they just have a way about them that I think I might just respect a little bit more.
Oh, okay, wait a minute. No.
No?
He Okay, but this is also the guy that I think it was, like, at the very beginning. He said he had a girl that was his number 1, which was dumb because that girl wasn't into him or
Okay.
something. And so it was like, "Damn it, okay, burn that bridge." And there was another girl that was like, "Oh, never mind, like, I kinda was into him, but now that I know I'm basically his number 2, I'm not down." And then I know he was paired with someone one of the times that he went in to go do the little, like, strategy thing.
Mhm.
Oh, it was with the girl because they rated each other the best on the kissing thing.
Sure.
And she, again, was so not interested. And he basically tried to be like, "Yeah, I would. I'd be down to flip and go to you." And she's like, "No." And so it's like he just shot himself in the foot so many times
Mhm.
that he just knew, like, shit, I'm screwed now with the girl I am partnered with because this girl is probably going to tell her, like, she's going to find out I was down to go with her. And so I don't know if it's just that, like, he's not very good at strategy. And granted, he, I think, was the bachelor. So all the girls were going after him. And I actually think he fudged up on his season too. Because I think it was at the end, I think I remember hearing there were 3 girls and he basically blew it with all of them. And I just wonder if this guy's not very good at stuff. And so he's good at looking good. But it does make me feel better to know all these people are human in their own ways. But yeah, no, I think that he might have just done that because he burned every Brit. Like he had no other options at this point because he's literally tried so much other stuff that like just didn't work out for him.
Yeah, I'll give that to you. I think maybe being on The Bachelor, and especially if you end up being the Bachelor or the Bachelorette, I think you're used to kind of going about it in a way where it's like, hey, everybody knows that they're dating me. There is no real competition. And so maybe I do just feel a little bit easier kind of saying, hey, this is my intention. This is my intent. Like just talking to people. And in a show like this, that's just not how that works. Like you are
Yeah.
asking yourself to get kicked out. So no, I'll give that to you. Maybe the people who were coming from Bachelor Nation don't really know how Netflix shows work or how that dynamic works. And so, yeah. All right, point to you. We're okay with that
Thank you. Thank you.
one. The only strategy that I really see, like I can't call this a strategy show. I can't call this a game show. It's definitely not a dating show.
I think it's a screen time show.
Yeah.
I think it's just like you wanna stay on to get the most screen time, to be the one that makes these, like, memorable or viral moments for
Mhm.
whatever reason, and to like increase your chances of either A, it's just fun to like be there. What else you're gonna do at home?
Sure.
Like you want to stay on longer. And then just to increase your chances of more followers after the show or brand deals or partnerships or like whatever else this might lead to.
The only thing that I see going on here is just a bunch of people trying to justify their dishonesty, which makes me really sad. Like that, this really does seem to be a show just about scheming. There is no relationship expert that comes in and says, "Hey, this is what we should be looking for." There are no exercises that really try and help people understand why they're maybe still single and what they can be doing better. It is just really left to their own devices. The goal is for you to get to the end. How you do that is up to you. But here's the real sad part for me. I think that this is, of the three that we saw this summer, I think this is actually the most accurate depiction of real dating today.
Really?
I do. I do. In real life, there's not a lot of situations that are prohibiting you from being sexual. And we know that most relationships start with the sexual stuff.
Yeah.
Right? So, Too Hot to Handle, while fun, definitely isn't a representative of reality.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to Are You the One? Well, life doesn't have these predetermined relationships. And you can end up with anyone. You can have multiple ones. There are many's.
I will say I don't think everyone believes that though.
Sure.
I think there are still different, like whether it's culture, religion, personal, like I do think there are people that really believe there is like a right person
Sure.
for them.
Sure. Yes. And I respect that. I guess if I can like amend that, I don't think that, again, I have no idea how they freaking found the ones, right? We don't know what questions they asked.
They make that difficult to figure out even in our research.
Yeah, whatever. Even if there is such thing as a soulmate, I still don't think that how they go about finding it or how they kind of, that's not a good representation of how it actually shows up here. In this show, like what actually happens is in real life, in the wild, in dating today, you scroll through some pictures, you meet some people, you talk, you like them, and then you keep talking to them. You let your hormones take over, you experience intimacy, or I hate that word in this context. Ugh. I'll take that back. You're physical with them, and then you just keep going from there. We also don't want to, I don't know if you experience this in your sessions with your people, but my people are very, very afraid of commitment language. I know people just in general who date, as in go on dates together for years before they even say they are dating, before they say that like you're my boyfriend, you're my girlfriend. That and all the while, they're talking to other people. Everyone is trying to see who is a better partner, where can I find myself happiest, and as soon as I find that, I'm probably jumping ship. And that is really what I saw in this show. Like, as sad as it is to say, I do think that this is an accurate depiction of the major themes in today's dating culture.
Ooh, okay. I have two interactions from the show to point out where I agree with you where they stuck out to me. Even though, like, I don't think the other 2 shows felt that healthy in terms of and we specifically talked about how toxic some of the people or things
Yeah.
seemed in Are You the One? Last week. But, okay, 2 of the things that come to mind with you saying that is I don't remember the names of these people. One girl was talking to this guy she was partnered with, and I think this was the most recent season. This was the one with The Bachelor that I was seeing some episodes. And, he was basically like she, I think, found out he was talking to someone else or whatever. And he was like, "So you don't wanna share me? Or, like, so you, like, wouldn't be okay sharing me?" And she's like, "No." Like, and she's just being like, so serious and so like, "What are you talking about?" Like, "No, that wouldn't." And he's, like, really trying to pitch to her why it's not that big of a deal and, like, "Come on." Like, I'm like this," or, like, "It's not a big," which I actually think we have a, character from the last show that was kind of similar when we talked about, ethical non-monogamy, but, like, not done properly. And so it was just interesting, like, hearing this encounter was just, like, a little interview section, but I don't know why I was like, "Oh, like, I hate things like this." And it feels to me like nowadays when someone, yeah, like, does say, like, "Oh, yeah, like, I'm looking for this," or like, "Oh, yeah, like, I'm trying to find someone I can date more seriously. I don't wanna waste my time, dating forever, whatever." I think there are some people that just view that language as not saying that those people can never be like sometimes, sure, you might date them more and be like, "Oh, they're, like, kind of clingy," or, like, "I don't know how much they like me or how much they just want to have, like, get married or
Yeah.
something." That's valid. But I think some people, those words are automatically like, oh, like, okay, clingy. Or like, oh my god, you're like rushing into something. Geez, like you just want to get married. And it's like, what? No. We're just like adults who have jobs. I have bills to pay. I don't want to waste my free time
Mm,
going on. Like my friends probably live a little further now. It's harder to like carve out time to see them. I don't want to waste time going on dates
yeah.
if I just want to find someone who I get along with and also at some point might want something more serious. Like that's not that weird in your 30s if you've thought about maybe wanting to get married
Mhm.
or have a family or something. Like why is that so weird to admit? So I do think there's that piece where yeah, certain words or verbiage freaks people out where it's like, well, why? Like that's just them being honest with you. And like nothing that they've done is maybe like bringing up all these like projections you have about like what they said or like, oh, but I don't know, that seems like a little too much too quick. And it's like, well, wait, what are you talking about? Like you guys were asking each other what you were looking for in the future. Like why is that a weird answer? And so I think there's that piece. And the other one that really stuck with me, and again, we've seen things in these other shows that could be like quote unquote kind of like toxic, but maybe it's because I don't know, this one like hit differently. I know the girl's name was Lucy, and I think it was whoever she's partnered with. A new guy who's there or something tries to talk to her. And she's like cracking up hysterically, or like they're just off talking. She's like not into the guy. The guy keeps saying stuff that she's like, that was my ex-boyfriend's birthday. And she's like, no, 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 no. And he's like, oh, he must have been a good guy. And she's like, no. Like she's not amused by this guy. If anything, I think she's so not interested that to her it's like, this is like kind of comical that like, no, you're a no, he was a no, it's all a no.
Yeah.
But the guy who was matched with her, or like the guy she had been kind of like doing stuff with, one of the things he got mad at her because she ranked the Ollie guy,
Mhm.
great name, as the best kisser. And he's like they're blindfolded, but like he was the only one with a beard.
Right.
So he's like, how could you give him the best score knowing it wasn't me? So he gets butthurt about that and kind of has an argument with her. And then after this one, she's like totally normal, everything's fine. And he's like all mad at her. And he's like, yeah, how about like laugh louder? Like, how about like he's being like, I borderline think aggressive. And like, if these people were truly dating and these little moments are how they interacted on a regular basis, could I think verge on being verbally abusive.
Sure.
And she's just kind of like operating in life, like not doing crazy things or like doing what like the challenge was or this or that. And not to say that this girl's a perfect person. I'm taking these things very out of context. But I like this guy is so serious. And she's like, oh, well, like, let me explain to you. And he's like, no, I don't want to hear it. No. And I don't know why it made me feel this uncomfortable. But I think just seeing the multiple interactions they had that I was like, oh, this is like really unhealthy and like really toxic. And not to say that the rest of these shows are healthy, but for some reason, these very specific interactions felt like someone doing what the show tells you to do. And then this other person who maybe it doesn't help. He was like a very tall guy. He's much bigger than her. And he's clearly like very pissed off. And he's like, no. And like super mad at her. And it's like, bro, she's doing what the thing said to do. And it just kind of freaked me out. And it made me sad knowing there are people that are actually in these kinds of relationships.
Definitely some weird dynamics
Yeah.
that me and my wife were looking at, like Ollie and AD. We did not like that dynamic. She is not a fan of Ollie.
They're engaged
She
in
mentioned that
real
too.
life.
Yeah, wild, weird to me, because like if you saw, like, maybe it's weird because you're
I didn't actually see too much of them on the episodes I watched though.
it's very much like macho stereotype that he has an understanding of what it means to be a man. He also has an understanding of what it means to be a woman. Guys got to be guys, but girls should be this, that, and the other thing. You were gone. You were out of my sight. What am I supposed to do? You know,
Oh,
hey, I'm
that's
gonna
my
go.
favorite. Different hoes and different area codes.
Yeah, it's so
Because what do you expect a man to do?
yeah. One throwaway line, and again, we are nitpicking. We're having some fun.
Yeah.
Okay. They went on a date and they were cooking. Some person was teaching them how to cook and they were putting an apron on, and she made a comment that says like, oh, you know, you look good in an apron, something like that. And he was like, well, you know, this is the only time you're ever going to see me do this. You know?
Ollie, I want to like you. You have a cool name.
Yeah,
Gross.
that. that. Not shitting on, because he's definitely not American. Not shitting on, how people run their lives, how people run their relationships. I think if traditional lifestyles work for you, then traditional lifestyles work for you. It was the arrogance for me.
Yeah, I think there's a difference in people that have more traditional dynamics that are like, "Hey, I don't like this just works for us," or like, "Oh god, I just," because there's so many women I know that hate cooking.
Mm.
And that's how it's never like you'll never, well, I guess I have heard some women do this. But same thing gives me the ick if it's like, like you'll never catch me doing that, or like yeah, he better cook for me. It's like there's nothing wrong with being like, "I don't like cooking." Or like, not my forte, not gonna lie. I'd really appreciate it if someone else took over, that task. But to just have, yeah, that like pompous, like,
Mhm.
last time you'll ever see me in this. It's like, why? You're never gonna wanna bake something? I don't get it. Why are you this against it?
Yeah, yeah, very weird. Don't like to see it. Makes me
Ugh,
sad. And again, maybe that's me, my worldview. It makes me sad to see that that's still something that so many people cling on to. And again, this is what's being represented on
yeah,
a show. And so shows like this make me very concerned because they do project an idea of what dating is like, or what this whole dynamic of getting to know each other and building romantic connections is like. And I wouldn't want people watching these shows and saying, that's a good line. I like this person. Look at how they're handling themselves, maybe relating to their own struggles in life and seeing like kind of bonding with this person on that level
yeah.
and being like, yeah, fuck them. This is definitely trash TV.
Oh, okay, wait. That makes me notice. Okay, because how I was saying, like, I don't know why it stuck out to me because there like are trashy moments, or there are just like other things that we've seen on both the other shows that are like, ew, like who
Yeah,
would
yeah.
carry themselves like this? Okay, I think the difference is when I think about Are You the One? The one person who I'm already forgetting their name, but the non monogamy, the consensual non monogamy that we
I,
were kind of
was
discussing with this one character. I keep
Kai?
forgetting their name. I don't remember.
I think their name was Kai.
Kai, we love you, Kai. Shout out again. This isn't even the show. So, what I guess I appreciated more about that is you had maybe a part of it is again, that was the more like regular kind of seeming people,
Sure.
but that were like putting Kai in their place. And was like, whoa, no, absolutely not. You can't talk to people that way. Was it incredibly dramatic and flared up and still toxic in many ways? Absolutely. What I think I'm not loving about seeing it on this show is, the multiple instances I saw it, no one really ever corrects the behavior. Like, in the instance with Lucy, she tries to be like, "Whoa, wait a minute, like, let me at least explain," but then she kinda
Yeah.
just gets upset, and he goes back at some point and is like, "I only did that because I cared about you,"
Mhm.
and it just kinda becomes like, "Okay, we just need to, like, I need better," and then they make up.
Mhm.
But there's not like a camaraderie of people around, or even that person being like, "Whoa, no, wait a minute. First, like, what was that about? Like, you can't talk to me that way." Like,
Mhm.
it doesn't feel like there's a real resolution. It just feels like these fights blow over, or they get by with the behavior. And I can imagine, without seeing that scene, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think other ones I've seen that are similar with like the cooking example, is it kind of just ends with like, "Ah, ha, ha, ha,"
Yeah.
like funny, or like, "Oh my gosh," like, no. But it's like, no, 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 no. Like, are we not aware of how like disgusting that comment was? And again, it's nothing about being like, men have to cook, like F traditional. Like, no. My sister-in-law and her husband are very traditional. But it's like there's a mutual respect. It's very like, and it's also like, it's not like he would ever refuse to go in a kitchen. Like, it's not like that. And so I think there's something about the nature of how he said it that's like very disrespectful
Yeah, and
and arrogant, like you said.
I'll push
And so I
that one
think,
step further.
yeah,
One step further is, like, on the note of not having, like, anyone correct those kinds of behaviors,
yeah.
one thing that they do that, again, I really hate about this show that really kind of cements that this is not a relationship show, or this should not be seen as a good way to handle relationships, is towards the end, what they do is they force couples to separate and they send them on their own kind of getaway. And then they introduce a whole new group of potential matches. And so
Oh,
naturally, everyone does what you think they do. They just go buck wild. Hey, new, fresh meat. Let's just do what we do. And then what they did, talking specifically about the guys, even though this happens on both sides, the guys will have a pack and say, hey, because now they know that they're going to go back to the villa and they know that they're going to start talking to each other again. And they're like, hey,
Oh
everything that we did stays between us.
no.
What happened on the date stays on the date. Again, that sounds like a sadly, pathetically accurate depiction of what happens in dating culture. Your friends are your friends, right? Bro code, sisters before misters. You know, what happens here stays here. We're not going to say anything. We don't want to rock the boat. And it's like, damn, that's pretty pathetic. That's sad.
Oh my god, Danny, I know multiple people that on their bachelorette or their bachelor trip, and this was obviously not in these scenarios I'm talking about. It was not agreed upon. No one was okay with it happening. And like either the person who was going to get married or other people that were like engaged on the trip
Mhm.
did shit they 100% should not have done.
Yeah.
And in like multiple of these scenarios that I either witnessed or heard about, it was very like, "Oh, ha ha ha, they did that." And I'm like, "Are we not what?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh my god," like, my heart is, like, breaking for their partner, and in my head, I'm like, "This is like, what are we even starting the foundation of this relationship on?" Or I mean, the like, the foundation of, like, the marriage
Mhm.
or whatever on, and I just find it like, more so than what happened, I have found it very interesting to observe how, like, either that person who did it or people who know them very well who were also on the trip
Mhm. Mhm.
saw no issues with it.
Yeah.
And I was like, "What?" And these were definitely not things that are like, "Oh, no, 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 Ollie, like, that was they talked about it beforehand, it was totally" it's like, no, like, in both of these scenarios,
Mhm.
it was 100% not okay. They know that if their person found out,
Mhm.
they'd be screwed.
Mhm.
And, like, maybe just because I'm another, like, degree away or, like, I'm obviously not, like, their spouse's best friend or whatever, saw no issues telling me about it or, like, me witnessing it, and then just like, "Ha like, don't care at all. And I'm like, those are things that make me hope that there are still that's why I guess even though I don't personally believe we all have, like, a singular soulmate, there is a part of me like we mentioned last week too, we were discussing how some people wanna wait until marriage
Yeah.
to have sex. Am I one of those people? No. But, like, there is a part of me that just so incredibly respects that. I see where it could also go a little south and where I'm a little like, "Ooh," like, that would just kinda worry me for some reasons, or especially, like, living with someone, like, wanting to be married before you live with someone. Again, I get, like, the idea. I respect it, but there is a part of me, like this might sound I think there's, like, maybe not naivety is the word, but I think I go to, like, where all these things could go wrong. But when there are people that are like, "No, like, I really believe that these are the steps that we should take, or this is how we should do things," part of me, like, really, really respects that and is like, "Oh, thank you, because 'cause you're at least not the person that's gonna go bang someone on a bachelorette trip or a bachelor party
Mhm.
and not even bat your eyes or think twice about it, and then go back home and, like, completely lie to your spouse about it." I'd hope. I'd hope those aren't the same people. So I think there are the ones that believe, like, you have one soulmate or that really wait to, like, do some of these things, even though I might not share those same ideals, I'm like, it makes me happy to know that there are still people like that out there.
Because there's a lot more people that are saying, "Hey, I'm gonna go with you to the strip club. I'm gonna turn off my location, or I'm gonna set it here. If anyone asks, this is what you need to tell them, right? We good? We good? Story straight." And yeah, that's what happened here. This shit really happens. I think this was a nice kind of view on the state of things and how people date. But yeah, I really hope no one watches similar to Sex Box. Have fun, right? If you have time to waste and if you just wanna make yourself maybe feel a little bit better about your life, have fun.
Yeah.
But please, by no means, go to this show thinking or taking anything kind of looking at them as role models or seeing, okay, that's smart, or I should say this, or I should do this. If you really find yourself kind of resonating with this in a positive way, like, oh yeah, like I definitely know where they're coming from, then I think that this would be a good time for you to kind of self-reflect and see how you're doing. Because let me backtrack. I'm not trying to sit on a pedestal. No one is freaking perfect,
No.
right? I am not saying if you're acting like this, you're a piece of shit and you should just like remove yourself from society. No, I'm not saying that. Acknowledge that this is where you're at. Know that this isn't how you should be going about doing things. Just makes me really sad that this is where we're at. This is what people do.
Well, and Danny, I guess it does. I feel like I've heard on the male end and the female end. Like, I have had guy friends that'll go on dates with girls or like try to talk to girls that like some girls do come across as like, oh, haha, like, yeah, no, like I don't do that. Or like, no, 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 like I expect you to buy everything or, whatever it is. And I've had guy friends that are like, where the hell do these girls get some of these ideas? Or it's like, no offense, it sounds really mean, but I've had multiple guy friends be like, you're not that pretty. Like you can't, and maybe not to them, but to me, to their friend, they'll be like, this girl was not, you can't be acting like that, looking like that. Does that sound really mean? Yes, but outside of therapy, we are not therapists, and these are things that I've heard. But I wonder if on shows like this, where like the women are incredibly good looking, and like the men are incredibly good looking, and like obviously they all pull. Like they probably can date pretty much whoever they want, or to some extent, I wonder if when you see the men act like, oh, like, you'll never catch me in this again, or, acting that arrogant, or if like girls, like younger girls observe, not saying that I think even like I noticed a ton of women on this show doing it, but like the kind of, I think, stereotypical, like very good looking female that can be portrayed as like, can I keep pays for my nails and I just I have his credit card, duh.
Right.
Like, or whatever. I just wonder if that becomes internalized and if, like, then you get just, like, the guy you go on a date with that's like, "Yeah, no, I don't do any of that." And you're like, "What?" You're like, Why not? You need to meal prep for the week. You said you were really busy." Like, I'm confused. It's like, I wonder if then you get kind of the people that are not these, like, 1% of people on TV getting paid in maybe some way, shape, or form to act like this, I'd
Mhm.
hope. If people internalize that and do view it as like, "Oh, haha, like, nice," because they see, like, "Oh, that's a hot guy girls wanna have sex with, and he acts like this."
Mhm.
And it's like, "Please don't do that. Please don't. I promise you, if you were the kinda nerdy guy in high school that maybe just hasn't, like, quite hit your peak yet, like, you're smart and you're gonna be so successful, and girls are gonna be like, 'Wow, that's attractive.'"
Mhm.
Or the guy that's funny, or the it's like, no, like, it is not these neat heads that I genuinely maybe if they were nicer, I'd think some of them were hot, but I almost think their personalities make them so unattractive that it's like, ugh, like, no. Ew, no.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what they do base their relationships off of?
Sex.
And astrology.
Oh, yep, yeah, people are really into that.
This is across every single dating show, and I end up in this conversation so many times. I've never freaking understood it. It's so weird. People seem to be so convinced about their astrological sign and what it means and how it helps them live a better life. And yet, they end up in shit relationships. Like, help me. It doesn't seem to be working if you're still on this show, right? How do you have a zodiac sign that tells you what you should be doing and who you should be paired up with, and you're still fucking single? That sounds like there's a kink in the chain. So I thought it'd be kind of fun to see what our astrological matchup is.
Oh, that's fun. How do we wait, before we get there though, on that note, can I ask you, because I have gotten people in therapy that have done this, where they'll be like, "Well, Ollie, I'm an IFSJ,"
Yeah, yeah.
or whatever. And it's not that I think that those are like fun little tests, but I do get people that I think they think to a therapist it really means something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "No, I mean, if anything, it gives me some data as to like, oh, really? You're more introverted? I would have totally thought like you actually come across as extroverted."
Mhm.
But I don't view it as like, no wonder you guys don't get along. He's an ETPA.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, I don't know I got those wrong. But I do find it funny that people come into therapy with that.
Yeah, yeah, I've had that happen many times where it's like, well, I'm a Leo, and so that's what this means, and well, they were this, and so and it's like that means.
I notoriously date Leos. So the only people I know anything about besides myself, a Capricorn,
Mhm.
are Leos. And I have found it a little odd that I'm like, why do I always end up with Leos?
Well, let's see. So your birthday is January what?
January 7th, 95, baby. Born at 11 a.m.
You even know the time
Well, yeah, because
because it
my
fucking
sister
matters.
was 11 p.m. 2 days earlier.
Mhm.
So I find it funny we're 2 days apart and we were both born at 11, but just different 11s.
Let's see. should.
Because the time matters with that stuff, right,
It
I
does,
think?
because then there's rising and this, and which in just preparation for the show, I found out what that meant.
That's funny.
I've
I
always
only
heard
know because
people
'cause I've
say
had
that.
so many friends be like, "Ollie, download the CoStar app," and you have to enter it into the app. Oh, this is fun. I've never looked up what I, like, would or wouldn't be compatible with. I don't know how you do that. Do you just Google it?
That's what I'm doing.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. Google says.
I don't even know.
Yeah, well, anyways, I've always heard people say, like, "I'm a moon rising." I'm like, "I don't know what the fuck that is."
I know there's all the different things, and technically, like, even though I'm a Capricorn, like, other things matter more than that,
Mhm.
but I don't know what any of it, like, means.
Alright, so this is common. And so,
I'm
I
common?
am born April 20th, and which, according to this very unprofessional resource,
Are we compatible?
we'll see.
I don't know why, it would just make me really happy if our friendship was, like, compatible.
If not, then we're just closing up shop. This is the last show, alright? She is not the one.
Oh,
We need to
oh,
separate and find new hosts.
there's a lot riding on this.
And so, I don't know if you know this, but this is something that I think I actually have known for a while, and that is being born on April 20th means that I'm on a cusp. So
Oh, like, sometimes you're one thing, sometimes you're another?
depending on if I was born, like, early in the day or late in the day, according to the old gods and the new, that actually means something, and I have
Oh,
no idea. And so I don't know when I was born, what time I was born, but, I mean, based on these descriptions, I'm pretty sure people can make a fucking guess. Doesn't matter, let's keep going. So, I can either be a late Aries or an early Taurus, depending on the exact time.
okay.
So, if I'm an Aries, I'm a fire sign, and that means that I'm bold, passionate, and impulsive.
You're not a fire sign. I don't know that you're bold, you're passionate. You're not impulsive. And bold is I don't know. Fire see, I only know this because Leos are fire signs.
Mm.
You are not a fire sign, honey. You're way too reliable. You are way too down to earth and normal. Nothing against Leos, but they're a
You are
lot.
proving this right, Olivia.
I'm
Stop.
proving it right?
We're trying to break the mold.
Oh.
So if I'm a Taurus, which is an
Oh.
earth sign, then I'm grounded, sensual, and loyal.
Ah, come on. You gotta be an earth.
You are Capricorn, which is an earth sign,
I'm a Capricorn through and through.
ambitious, practical, and disciplined, which
Yep.
are things that I would not argue about.
Thank you.
Compatibility. So a Taurus plus a Capricorn. Well, guess what? We are highly compatible. Yeah, so both.
Well, that would make sense. We're both, like, grounded and stuff. We'd probably have a really boring life together, though. We'd be, like, so organized and, like, I think we both need a little more, like, spice in our life.
Sure. So both are earth signs valuing stability, loyalty, long-term commitment. You both take love seriously,
We do.
build slowly, and want real security. Taurus brings warmth and sensuality, where a Capricorn will bring structure and ambition, possible challenges. A Capricorn might seem emotionally distant at times, while a Taurus craves more affection. But overall, we're pretty solid and grounded.
This is honestly, like, maybe these astrology people really are onto something. This is hitting the mark.
If I am an Aries,
Yeah.
then we are actually challenging but possible. So like
Okay.
on like a 5-star rating, if I'm a Taurus, then we have a 4 out of 5, very compatible. If I'm
Okay.
Aries, we are 2 out of 5. So that's a pretty significant difference.
Yeah, because I think a fire sign. Was it last week when we were saying we both kind of believe like opposites, maybe not so much opposites attract, but
Yep,
like
yep, yep.
a balance is healthy. I do think a fire sign or maybe just something that isn't an earth sign, especially a Capricorn, because I specifically have heard Capricorns are like not super like emotional.
Mm.
So, or like, and like talk about their feelings and stuff with their partner. And so I think having someone who is a little more of that could be good. But then I could also see how if someone's like a little too fiery or like a little too like impulse, emotion, like it just wouldn't work because it'd be like, oh my God, like too much. What is happening? No.
But like again, this is what bothers me about stuff like this. Is sure, maybe we both have some tendencies that fit those descriptions, but does that mean that that's all that we are? Because
Yeah.
they seem to
Just kidding.
really kind of hold these things almost religiously.
Yeah.
You know, like, okay, yeah, you are impulsive, but does that mean that you can have no self-control? That's my issue. It almost seems to justify my poor behavior, you know? And so I just need to find someone who justifies my poor behavior with me, you
You
know?
know what this reminds me of though, Danny? I think we've talked about it kind of in terms of therapists, and it was funny, I actually had a client who went on a date with someone with a very different, like, PhD, and they were like, it was just odd, like, anytime I tried to ask them about them, they just kind of, like, told me more about their PhD. Or, like, they would relate it back to this, like, very niche topic that their PhD was in. And I think you and I have both met or have heard other therapists that really it seems to be, like, their entire identity. And it's like, well, but like I'm a therapist. And I'm not saying it's not something you can be proud of. Or like I actually, from what I know about Capricorn people, I do actually resonate a lot with a lot of those things. I'm not like, oh, this is BS. Like I'm not like this at all. I'm like, weirdly enough, out of the ones I've heard of, I am much more a Capricorn than these other things.
Mhm.
However, I don't think I would like anytime someone asked me something, I'd be like, well, I'm a Capricorn. So, but just like I wouldn't say, like, well, I'm a therapist.
Yeah, yeah.
So, like, if anything, I feel like I hide that or I don't lead with it because people are likely to be like, let's get the therapist's opinion. And I'm like having margaritas and I'm going to go on like, I'm like, I'm not, what? Like, I'm just a normal person right now at 6 p.m. on a Saturday. Like, this isn't a therapist's opinion. It's
Mhm.
Ollie with a margarita opinion.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I'd argue that for anyone that kind of is like way to take something on as like their whole identity, I guess.
Mhm. Yeah. So I am very cautiously I'm just cautious about this stuff. Like I think it's interesting that it seems to hold true, but I'm in total agreement with you. Like I don't identify as a therapist. I don't identify as a Taurus. Like I am this way because I'm this way and there's 100 reasons why it works for me. And if I need to change to adapt to a certain scenario, I do my best to do that. This is comfort, this is home base, but this is by
Mm.
no means like all that I am. And so it strikes me as very odd that astrology seems to be such a big thing.
Yeah.
People are just sold on it. Part of me just wants to like respectfully take a step back and say, "Hey, I'm out of my element. I don't understand this." Great, even if it works, even like what you had mentioned with the Myers Briggs, right? Those INFJs, INTJs.
Yeah.
Blah, blah. Okay, great, awesome. That's good to know. It's helpful. I can see the trend. But now what? So what do I do with that? Does that mean that I eliminate part of the dating pool? Does that mean that I'm not responsible for conducting myself in a certain way? Does that mean that, again, is that an excuse for my poor behavior because it's a part of my sign and nature? I don't like how married so many people seem to be to this stuff.
You know what I will? That makes me think though, Danny, our brains do love categorization.
Yes.
And I remember I took like an entire class on stereotypes, and it was literally just like, it was kind of funny. It just went through all these different stereotypes and was like, we like this because they are slightly based on truth. If there was no truth to them, then there wouldn't be enough of even a remote pattern for it to be a stereotype. So it has to be based on like remotely some fraction of truth. And then our brains love it because it's like, boom, who's driving
Mhm.
slow in front of me? A woman. Done. And then it just doesn't take any mental energy.
Yeah.
It's like perfect. I like things I can put in a box. I like things I can organize. Again, maybe it's the Capricorn in me. I love that as well. And I see why that's like helpful and logical to our brains.
Uh-huh.
But I think similarly, it can be whether it's conscious or unconscious, I think it can be, I don't know, easier. It could make our lives simpler. It can just be more streamlined to know, like, well, no wonder he's a Taurus. And then you just move on with your day and you have fully accepted that that is why this one thing happened. And it would take a lot more mental energy to be like, well, wait a minute. Let me like critically think about why that might have happened. And like, even though I didn't like it, does that mean I should totally throw this away? Or are there other ways in which, like, that is going to take so much more energy on your end than if we can just easily go, boom, this thing happened because of this reason, or like, oh, that was really weird. No wonder he's a Leo. And then I just move on with my day.
Yeah, I think that is a perfect way to explain this whole thing. That those examples are amazing. I love them. That really kind of encompasses what I'm struggling
Mhm.
to talk about is that categorization, the then allowance to just put the rest of engaging with the world to the side. Like, oh,
Yeah.
that must be you. This is it. Moving on. That bothers me. I don't. Yeah, and I see it coming up a lot with astrology. I find it as an interesting dating tactic. Thank you for explaining that because you did that much better than I could.
Thank you. I don't think that's like all encompassing,
Sure.
but I do think that is, and I know it's true. I mean, I know it's an issue that has actually come up in multiple of like my own relationships as people are like, oh my God, Ollie, you get what I mean. Or like, it was a blanket statement. But
Mm,
I think I cling so much on to that idea of like, well, no, like we don't actually know that. Or like, well, it might actually be way more nuanced than that. And they're like, Ollie, it was a freaking comment that we made at a baseball game. Like, just fucking watch the rest of the game. And I'm like, oh God, okay, okay. And so it's like, I need to remind myself that people just do that. And it's, I think, helpful to our brains in many ways. And I think if you overanalyze or think critically about too much, then you probably are stuck in my brain. And that'd be exhausting.
cool. So let's end the episode with an actual therapeutic thing.
Yes.
Now, let's do a little work. Why is this show so upsetting? It's not just two people kind of shitting on the show, as I do actually want to bring light to people who are taking this a little bit more seriously and have been kind of on this journey with us, right? You're here because you're looking for good information about the mental health field. And thank you for, indulging us on this break. But there is something that we can pull from this. And so why do I find a show like this very harmful is because what is on display the entire time is called a negative comparison. This is pretty much how the show works, is building negative comparisons off of each other
Mhm.
to justify your poor behavior and why you should make the decisions you do or move on to the next relationship without really kind of engaging with the one that you're in.
Right?
Yeah, a negative comparison is a Gottman concept, which refers to one partner mentally or verbally comparing their partner to someone else. Whether this is real or imagined, they're doing it in some way that dismisses the value of the current relationship. A few ways that this kind of shows up is, you might find yourself saying, ugh, I'd be totally happier with someone else, or another person's partner does this, don't you? Or you might look back at an argument that you guys have had and say, well, my ex never did something like this. This behavior is seen as a warning sign in Gottman's research, especially when it becomes habitual. When this is just how you start really kind of running your relationship when it comes to arguments. And so there's three big things that show up when negative comparisons are rampant in your relationship. The first thing is that negative comparisons erode the fondness and admiration that two people have. What this means
Mhm.
is that it undermines the positive perspective that's essential to maintaining a respectful and committed relationship. I think we've talked about this before where it's like you have goodwill in a savings bank.
Mhm.
When you come in with optimism, you come in with a fantasy of where you guys would like to see each other, right? And as you have these tough interactions, it requires us to withdraw from that savings account. It takes goodwill to interpret what your partner is doing as non-harmful. Negative comparisons are just leaks in that bank. You are just constantly just spilling and just wasting goodwill because now you are actively, even if it is subconscious, you're actively building a negative image of your partner. Number two, why are negative comparisons harmful is because it triggers contempt. So if you know Gottman research, you know that contempt is one of the worst and most important things to deal with. Contempt, I can have a couple show up in my room with criticism, defensiveness, and stonewalling. Those are three of the four horsemen. And that's just par for the course. Everyone seems to come in with that. And while contempt is natural, even if I have a couple coming in with just contempt,
Mhm.
we're usually doing discernment. We're not actually doing a, traditional couples therapy. Because what contempt talks about is a lack of respect for the other person. You carry a tone of superiority or judgment, and negative comparisons directly lead to this. The third thing of why negative comparisons are harmful is because it reinforces emotional distance. And this is something that you pointed out a few times with some of the relationships like Lucy. When something happens because of these negative comparisons that you keep on building, instead of going to that person and saying, hey, what happened? Are we okay? What's going on? How should I see this? What's your perspective? They immediately soothe themselves by talking to other people on the show. And that only builds the negative comparison. Because if I had an argument with you, my dear, instead of sorting it out with you, I then go to another friend of mine And they're consoling me. They're saying, no, you're great. What are you talking about? I totally agree with you. It is increasing the negative view I have of you, which makes it that much harder to go back and sort our shit out.
Well, and Danny, can I ask you, because it reminds me of the negative comparison from Gottman, but I believe it's imago. And I don't know again if this has like a specific term, but I know one of the things and I think it's imago, correct me if you remember what kind of couples theory it is from, but the idea that like it's natural that the things that initially attract us to someone will be the things
Yep.
that it's like at first we'll be like, oh my gosh, he's so spontaneous. He
Mhm.
just like, oh, he's just so creative. He gets this urge and he just goes for it. And guess what, girl? In 2 years, you're going to be like, this hoe. He's doing stuff out of left field.
Mhm.
He is not planning. He is not prepared. It's like all of those things are natural to
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
And so it kind of reminds me, like in a similar vein, that when you negatively compare, I think it can also bleed into it's like no, there are also these things that are naturally going to happen in relationships that I think the negative comparison can what am I trying to say? I think the negative comparison, if you feed into that too much, it can like make you freak out or like really build this thing that in reality, a part of it might also just be like very natural
Mhm.
that happens in longer term relationships.
Yep. You're 100% right.
Okay.
And there's 4 ways that this kinda commonly shows up, and they all happen in the show. So how do people actually make negative comparisons? What are a couple ways that they do that? Is number one is ex-partner idolization. They look at their
Mm.
past relationships and they compare it to the ones that they're in now. This happens in real time in the show because, like I said, if they go on a date with someone else, like let's say we were matched up and then we lost a challenge and another couple comes in and ends up splitting us up by sending you on a date. Now I feel totally threatened. And so while I'm at the villa and you're on a date, I'm already talking to someone else and I'm considering you an ex, right? And they're constantly breaking up with people, they're constantly meeting new people, and they're looking back. This is where the regret comes in. We had such a good time. I don't know why you're acting this way. I just want to go back to that person. And so, just how fluid and how sticky the relationship matching is in that show
Mhm.
is just a breeding ground for ex-partner idolization. You can never just be present in the relationship that you're in because you can literally just look over your shoulder and see your partner doing something with someone else. And think about it, issues in relationships are natural. They always come up. We're always going to have tension. So here you are struggling with your partner, and then you look at the person who you matched with 2 nights ago. And
Mhm.
they're having a great time. They're laughing. They're smelling good. They're looking nice. And you're saying, damn, it was so much better with that person. I should just go back to that person instead of, again, working through the shit with this person. They might be a great partner, but tension is a natural part of a relationship. Ex partner idolization is one of the things that show up in here. And it is just pretty much just the premise of the show.
Ooh, okay, yeah, and Danny, I think it's important to point out, and this is something I'm sure we can go into on like a different episode. I'm sure it'll relate to something that we
Mhm.
talk about in the future. I don't think that is you saying that as therapists, we wouldn't ask about, because I think that that can be confusing, that as therapists, like we will ask about previous
Yeah.
relationships,
Yeah.
or like we might want to know about how you felt in a different relationship, but I do think I mean, obviously there's a difference with what you're describing versus I think there's a difference at looking at past relationships and seeing maybe like patterns or things in ourselves that we wouldn't want to emulate in future relationships or like wow, I made certain decisions that like I just want to understand why I did that and I don't want to fall into that again. Like I think there's a way to use relationships for like history and context and
Sure.
identifying patterns that we can then change in the future versus like really fixating on or just comparing everything. Like being like, well, my ex would have cooked for me. It's like yes, and your ex, like, left you at a bar multiple times at
Yeah.
2 a.m. and
Yeah.
didn't
Yeah.
care about your safety. Like, no, 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 no. Like, we are not just, like, one-off comparing
Mhm.
things. And so that's something I'm sure we can get way deeper into at some point. But just to clarify, I think there can be some nuance between what about a previous relationship is important and we maybe wanna look at versus what would just be kind of like comparison or I don't know, we don't need to, like, fixate on some of those things. Yeah, there were probably positives. You dated this person for a while for a reason, but like that doesn't mean we need to just cling on to that forever.
Yeah. No, thank you for the clarification. The idealization of an ex-partner usually comes off as a criticism. And so it's
Hmm.
exactly the way that you said it. Well, my partner used to always do this. It's not really saying, "Hey, this is what I enjoyed from my last relationship. I want to kind of set this as a standard, or I want to make this a healthy expectation," right?
Yeah,
So my partner in my last relationship was very respectful, always kind of made time for me. We were able to kind of work through stuff. Yes, I should use that as a barometer for health in my new relationship, but that's not how these people are doing it. They're using it as criticisms.
got it.
Yeah. So, how else does it show up? A second way that
Number
it
two.
shows up is a hypothetical partner. So, they'll usually say, well, if I was with someone who understood me, this wouldn't be a problem. This shows up a lot in shows like this, I think, and I want to be very respectful when I say this because this kind of like pokes at the bubble that you and I have kind of been like putting them in, and that they are the 1%. And so, they probably don't always live in reality of how, actual relationships are when they're given so many opportunities in relationships.
Mhm.
So take it with a grain of salt, please, or, please hear the respectful side of what we're trying to talk about. But a lot of people in dating culture envision what their ideal partner would be like, and they try and compare real people to that.
Mhm.
And that's just like, where are you getting this information from? Yes, you're a princess, you're a snowflake, you should be respected. But the way that you are is not without correction. The
Mhm.
way that you are like you are not perfect. And it's like this is really weird. And so hypothetical partners are also a big thing that show up in this. You hear it a lot when they're kind of in their like little, what is it, like confessionals, when they're just talking to the
Yeah.
camera and giving their commentary. The third way that this shows up is other couples. This one is inevitable because there's so many couples in this. They look around at the other people in the villa and they see that they're happy and they wonder, why aren't we like that? So one person is having a good time for whatever reason. It could be as real or as shallow as they want to be, but they're just having a great time. You kind of fixating on that really starts to put a negative light on the real stuff that's happening in your relationship. And then we end up just kind of trying to emulate what we think good relationships look like instead of building them.
Well, and Danny, I have to point out because you said that this one felt to you like the most accurate depiction of like dating, or the show felt like the most accurate depiction of dating in today's culture. And if you think about it, that's kind of the whole like on Instagram or
Yeah.
TikTok or on social media.
Yeah, that's a
To
great.
me, that is the comparison of like, well, but this couple seems so happy. Or like, oh, like that was their proposal. Or like, look at how perfect, this and that is, and how he treats her, or how, like obsessed with him she is, whatever. It's like, I think similar, even though we're not on a show where it's a dating show and you're literally looking left and right and everyone's dating, you have access to seeing that pretty much whenever
Hmm.
you want. And
Yeah.
so I think that just goes to show, or that's like a great kind of contributing comment to what you were saying earlier.
Yeah, that's a perfect example of how this shows up in the real world. Yeah, I do think that this show is sadly a good depiction of what actually happens in reality.
Danny, we can never have to go back to dating again. Like, we can't do it.
The last one,
Mm.
and I'm pretty sure you can see how this one shows up all the time. The last form of negative comparison is self comparison. So if I had done this to you, you'd lose it, right? And this always comes up in their arguments. Why would you do that? If I would have done that to you, you would have been, off the wall. You would have done this, you would have done that. And you know what the stupidest thing is? Is that when given the opportunity, 9 times out of 10, people on the show will do the thing that they are criticizing their partner for having done. So if I had done that, bitch, you did do it. You did do it. In the next episode, you will do it.
Well, then what's that is a thing. Like, and again, I don't remember if this one's from if it's like a specific term from a couples therapy theory or from a different theory, but that it's like whatever you blame other people for doing,
Hmm.
or like basically, oh, what is it? Like things that you nitpick or that are like pet peeves of yours and other people are
Yeah.
probably things that you do. And so I do find it funny that like that shows up here too.
Yeah.
It's like you're so loud, you say as you are screaming at me.
Yeah.
It's like, bitch, you are the loud one.
Yeah. No, I'm only loud because I'm trying to show you how loud you are and how offensive it is. Do you like it? Yeah, that's exactly how it shows up. So Again, I'm not just shitting on this show. We're not just shitting on this show because we don't like it and because, we're trying to stand on a high horse. This makes me worried about people watching a show like this because this is kind of like the biggest thing that shows up. This is how they interact. This is just constant negative comparison, and this is why the majority of these relationships don't work out. It's not because
Mhm.
that they come from different places. It's not because they're different ages or at different points in their life. It is because we don't know how to build strong relationships. We actually don't know how to communicate. And this is a form of kind of like self-preservation, is that they're constantly coming in defensive. They're always kind of coming in trying to take care of themselves, hedge their bets, and increase their chances without this is an example that we don't have to get into, just kind of like a teaser, is like it's an I it experience versus an I thou experience.
Oh,
Yeah. Have you ever heard of that before?
no, explain. That's fun.
I know my drivers, I know my emotions, my experiences. I am real in this world. I
Mhm.
matter. But as much as we like to say it, it's actually very hard to consider people in this world as actual people that exist. And I think 9 times out of 10, if given the chance, if you had to sacrifice some rando on the street versus, a family member, you would pick the random 9 times out of 10. There's no brainer. Why? Because there's just something in our brain that just objectifies people. It's just how we process information. I don't know. I can't imagine the existential dread we'd be in if we can really grasp just how important everyone is in this world. But when it shows up in dating, it really is like, well, these people are just a dime a dozen, they are just on to the next. It's so hard to grant people the respect of just being seen as real people that it makes this entire dating culture feel performative and shallow.
Ooh. Okay, after doing some of the like going through these and kind of just along the lines of like everything you're explaining of like ways that we can like look at other things to judge our own relationships, like all these different kind of like negative comparisons or way we negatively compare. As someone who I think it's always been very difficult for me to find people I like resonate with well, or even if I went on dates that I was like, yeah, this went like fine, but I'm just like not super into it. Like it was hard for me to find people I like really vibed with. But with that being said, I don't actually think it's that hard to no. Let me rephrase this. It's very hard to find someone that you're gonna like be with forever. But I don't think they're like that few or far between. Does that make any sense? Like, I really do think that if you just find someone who shares a lot of the same values as you, who is someone that you can really like work through things, even if you're not like that attracted to them, like sexually upon initially meeting,
Mhm.
like, I actually think it could work with a lot more people than maybe you give it credit for or than you would like think on first glance.
Yeah.
But I really do think a lot of those have like equal or very good chances of working out, or you'd be happy just in like very different ways, maybe.
Mhm.
But I think when you look at like a relationship that's 30 or 40, like really long term, watching a lot of these shows and like the commentary will make about like couples things and dating and stuff, I guess I do find it funny that I never, as someone who finds it hard personally to like meet someone and be like, wow, I'm like really into them or I like want to keep pursuing things with them. The more I've been a therapist, the more I've like worked with couples, the more I've done research on these things, I really do think it could just work with so many different people. It just kind of depends like what you want. And there's also tons of people it won't work with. Like I think there's values things that right away are kind of like, ooh, we're very different. Like I don't think this is it. But I think it can be it in a lot more ways than people think.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think what's so funny about what you're saying is I can imagine how many people are immediately going to get triggered and say looks like matter. Your physical attraction to someone matter. Like it sounds as almost you might be depreciating
Mm,
relationships in some way. Like, oh, you can just make it work with anyone. It's really not that important. That I don't think that that's what you're saying at all.
no.
It's saying that, hey, if we actually put our, vanity, naivete, just ignorance to the side and just connected with people, you might actually find out that a lot of people can make you happy, that you can actually live a good life with a lot more people than you think you can.
Yes. And same thing with like I have met certain people that I had zero attraction for.
Mhm.
Zero. And just through getting to know them or through like seeing them do different things or whatever, I was like, I don't know what the hell is going on. I don't know who I am, but like I find this person very attractive all of a sudden. And it's like I've even had some people in life that I've been like I am smitten. I am swooning over you, with people that I think friends were even like, "What are you talking about?" And I'm like, "Girl, I can't explain." I'm
Mhm.
like, "Don't even I can't even explain this." But, like, I do think, yeah, if you gave more people just the chance, and this is even just, like, not like I'm trying to date these people, but it was just, like, organically as you got to know them, you're like, "Whoa, like, a year ago, never would've saw you in this light," and, like, never really thought of things that way. But just the more you get to know people, the more you see how, like, in line you are, and I think I also see so many couples, and I'm sure as you do, Danny, that, like, things don't work out. You're so smitten, you're so hot and
Yeah.
heavy for this person. People's bodies are gonna change over time, like, and maybe they grow apart in a lot of ways, and I've seen so much of that die that, like, I also inversely can see it. I see why it can also grow.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, if you picture 30 or 50 years with someone, what if it's just the opposite? Instead of at the beginning, you're like hot and heavy, this is awesome. Okay, this sounds really bad. And this is not the therapist and me talking. This is the you and me friend talking. I was literally talking to my husband the other day, and I'm like, if I had to do it all over again, I was like, I was like, I'd find the guy that was really on the come up. Like maybe he was like the larger guy in school or just, had some stuff happen. He was really out of shape, but he's really getting back on the bandwagon and he's
Yeah.
been consistent for a good amount of time. He's lost some weight. He's still a little bit bigger. People are overlooking him. And I'm like, I'm going for it. He's like later in life and he's like, no, I'm on my upswing. Here I go in my 30s, baby.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's better than like the guy who peaked in high school that
Sure.
you like fell in love with then. And now it's like, dude, you're not a baseball player anymore and you've gained 30 pounds. Like, it's okay. Like, but it's like, get them on their upswing. And so I just think it's funny. Like, it can happen like inversely too, where it's like, rather than, yeah, things go down after a while, it's like you can also find people like that stuff can like really grow
Mhm.
after some years too. And not to say that the person who is in great shape and hot in high school can't continue to be. Look at these shows, they're out there. I'm just saying, and for like conversational purposes, I don't think people give enough credit to other things that I think really, really can matter along with attraction. Because I am also not one of the people that doesn't believe attraction matters. I do think in ways you have to be attracted to your
Sure.
partner, even if at the second it's not super physically attracted.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I agree. I love that. So this was fun. I hope that this helps. Usually
Yeah.
what we do or what we've been doing at the end of these episodes is what would you take to, our dating show? But honestly, I wouldn't take any of this shit.
I like the challenges. I think they need to be revamped. I think they need to be like rethought through.
Mhm.
But I do think this one had more consistent challenges or like games, like couples games than the other ones did. It was slightly more consistent, I think, in this one or more frequent. And I did like that. I didn't like the games themselves. I wouldn't drop a Plinko chip on something that said body shot of a guy I've never really talked to. But I do think that you can incorporate. I will try and give it something, and I will say more like couple activities. I did like.
Okay. All right. Then I'll let you lead this one. Let's just add more games. Let's be more consistent with that.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
really struggling to find anything helpful from the show.
that's okay. I shat on it enough. Shit on it. Shat on it. Shat the past
Shoot.
of shit. I don't. I was mean about the episode enough earlier that I'm like, okay, the least I can do is give it this. I'll tell you what, we're not having the Bachelor guy on. Sorry, Clayton, wish you the best, buddy, but I think they need a few more years and do some values exercises and get a therapist, and then I think you're gonna make a great spouse one day.
Just not today.
Not where you were at on that show. But that's okay. It's a part of the show.
Cool. Awesome. This was fun. You ready to get back to work?
Yeah, I'm ready. That ends our 3-part series on dating shows. We're going to do it again. There's so many more. My favorite, we still haven't gotten to, Married at First Sight. That's one I would sign up for if I were, back in the day. But I like that one. So we'll revisit these, but I think this was a fun first round of 3.
Cool. Thanks.
Of course. Thank you, Danny. What a good idea.
Yeah, this was fun. Okay. All
Yay!
right. See you next
All
time.
right, Danny, you're the best. See you next week.
Bye bye.